Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another video. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you will be updated on all my future content. Most importantly, please hit the subscribe button. So this live stream is going to focus on subtraction with regrouping, multi-digit subtraction with regrouping. Our first example problem is 27,000 minus 15,485. I'm going to go through step by step how to solve that problem. Now for subtraction, we regroup whenever there is a bottom digit that is bigger than the top digit. So before we subtract anything, our first step is to see if regrouping is needed. So I'm going to check here. So we do not need regrouping in the 10,000s place. 2 is bigger than 1. 7 is bigger than 5. We do not need any regrouping in the thousands place. In the hundreds place, in the tens place, and in the ones place, we will need regrouping. So how do we regroup? You cannot start with 0 and take away 4, so we have to take a 10 from the thousands place. So the 7 in the thousands place is going to become a 6. The 0 in the hundreds place is going to become a 10. Now I'm going to do all of my regrouping before I do any subtraction. You cannot start out with 8. You cannot start out with 0 and take away 8. So the 0 in the tens place is going to become a 10, and then we have to take away 1. And we're looking at the column to the left. At the hundreds place, we have to take away 1, so that 10 is going to become a 9. It's always add 10 and then take away 1 from the column to the left. That's how we regroup. You cannot start with 0 and take away 5. So again, we have to add a 10. That 0 becomes a 10. Then the 10 in the tens place becomes a 9. And now double checking, making sure all of the top digits are either equal to or bigger than the bottom digits. So 6 is bigger than 5. 9 is bigger than 4. 9 is bigger than 8. 10 is bigger than 5. We are ready to subtract. 10 minus 5 equals 5. 9 minus 8 equals 1. 9 minus 4 equals 5. 6 minus 5 equals 1. 2 minus 1 also equals 1. And we have our final answer. 27,000 minus 15,485 equals 11,515. All right, moving on to example number 2. Hello, welcome to the chat. I am glad you're here. $81,915 minus 49,707. Thank you for hitting the like button. I appreciate you. All right, so again, before we do any subtraction, we're going to do all of our regrouping. So we're finding the 10,000s place and the thousands place. You cannot start out with 1 and take away 9, so we are going to need to regroup. So that 8 is going to become a 7, and that 1 is going to become an 11. Now we are fine in the hundreds place. We are fine in the tens place. In the ones place, you cannot start out with 5 and take away 7, so we have to regroup in the ones place. So in the ones place, that 5 is going to become a 15. And then we have to take away 1 from the column to the left, so that 1 in the tens place is going to become a 0. Now we are ready to subtract. Double checking, making sure all of the top digits are either bigger than or equal to the bottom digits. So 7 is bigger than 4, 11 is bigger than 9, 9 is bigger than 7. In the tens place, both digits are the same, 0. The digits can be the same. It's okay if they're the same. The only time where it does not work is if the bottom digit is bigger. 15 is bigger than 7. All right, we are ready to subtract. 15 minus 7 equals 8. 0 minus 0 equals 0. 9 minus 7 equals 2. 11 minus 9 equals 2. 7 minus 4 equals 3. And we have our final answer. 81,915 minus 49,707 equals 32,208. All right, moving on to example number 3. It's the Mr. Camilleri show. It's the Mr. C. It's the Mr. Camilleri show. Shout out to Mr. C. All right, 74,427 minus 28,934. So, again, we are going to do all our regrouping before we do any subtraction. So you cannot start out with 4 and take away 8, so we have to take a 10 from the 10,000s place. That 4 is going to become a 14, and then that 7 is going to become a 6. You cannot start out with 4 and take away 9, so we have to take a 10 now from the thousands place, so that 4 will become a 14, and then we have to take away 1, that 14 is going to become a 13. Shout out to the person that just hit the like button, I appreciate you. Shout out to everybody in the chat, I am glad you're here. All right, in the tens place now, you cannot start out with 2 and take away 3, so we have to take a 10 from the hundreds place. So that 2 is going to become a 12. And that 14, we're going to take away 1. It's going to become a 13. Now, in the ones place, 7 is bigger than 4, so we do not need to do any regrouping in the ones place. All right, we are now ready to subtract. So starting in the ones place, we always regroup from left to right, and then we subtract from right to left. So starting with the digits all the way to the right, we are in the ones place. 7 minus 4 equals 3. 12 minus 3 equals 9. 13 minus 9 equals 4. 13 minus 8 equals 5. 6 minus 2 equals 4. And we have our final answer. 74,427 minus 28,934 equals 45,493. Again, our final answer is 45,493. 74,427 minus 28,934 equals 45,493. All right, moving on to example number 4. All right, example number 4, 57,912 minus 38,743. Again, step 1 is we do all of our regrouping. Before we do any subtraction, we want to get all of the regrouping out of the way. So you cannot start out with 7 and take away 8, so we need to add a 10. And we're taking a 10 from the 10,000s place, so the 7 is going to become a 17, and then the 5 is going to become a 4. So 9's bigger than 7, so we're fine in the hundreds place so far. You can't start out with 1 and take away 4, so we have to take a 10 from the hundreds place. So that 9 is going to become an 8, then that 1 is going to become an 11. Now in the ones place, you cannot start out with 2 and take away 3. So we're going to have to take a 10 from the tens place. That 2 becomes a 12. That 11 becomes a 10. And now we are ready to subtract. 12 minus 3 equals 9. 10 minus 4 equals 6. 8 minus 7 equals 1. 17 minus 8 equals 9. 4 minus 3 equals 1. And we have our final answer, 57,912 minus 38,743 equals 19,169. And we are moving on to example number 5. Welcome to the chat. I try to stream daily. Sometimes it's every couple of days. Sometimes it's every day. Sometimes it's maybe a few times a week. All right, final example of the video. Hi, welcome to the chat. So, final example problem, 43,712 minus 38,953. 5 more examples. I don't know if I can do 5 more examples. Let me get this next example done first. Then I might do a few more since people want me to stay on. All right, so again, before we do any subtraction, got to do all of our regrouping. So we're good in the 10,000s place. In the thousands place, you cannot start out with 3 and take away 8, so we have to regroup. So that 3 is going to become a 13, and then that 4 is going to become a 3. We always regroup by adding 10 to the place that needs to be regrouped and then taking away 1 from the column to the left. You can't start with 7 and take away 9, so we have to regroup again. So that 7 is going to become a 17. And that 13, we have to take away 1, is going to become a 12. You cannot start out with 1 and take away 5. So again, we're adding a 10. That 1's going to become an 11. Then that 17 is going to become a 16. You can't start out with 2 and take away 3. So that 2 becomes a 12. Then we have to take away 1 from the column to the left. The 11 becomes a 10. And now we are ready to subtract. 12 minus 3 equals 9. 10 minus 5 equals 5. 16 minus 9 equals 7. 12 minus 8 equals 4. 3 minus 3 equals 0. We could put a 0 there, or we could just leave it blank. Either way, it isn't going to change the value of the number. But we have our final answer, 43,712 minus 38,953 equals 4,759. All right, this was going to be the last problem, but since somebody in the chat asked me to do 5 more examples, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to at least do a couple more examples. $88,917 minus 29,381. So we're going to start off with the regrouping. You can't start out with 8 and take away 9, so we have to take a 10 from the 10,000s place. That 8's going to become a 7. This 8's going to become an 18. Good in the hundreds place right now, but you can't start with 1 and take away 8. So that 9 is going to become an 8, and that 1 is going to become an 11. And now we are ready to subtract. 7 minus 1 equals 6. 11 minus 8 equals 3. 8 minus 3 equals 5. 18 minus 9 equals 9. And 7 minus 2 equals 5. And we have our final answer, 88,917 minus 29,381 equals 59,536. All right, on to what I believe is example number 7. $97,411 minus 68,594. So again, step 1 is to do all of our regrouping, and then we'll start subtracting. So everything here other than the 10,000s place needs to be regrouped. You cannot start out with 7 and take away 8. So that 7 becomes a 17, and that 9 becomes an 8. Can't have 4 and take away 5, so we have to take a 10 from the thousands place. The 17 becomes a 16. The 4 becomes a 14. You can't start with 1 and take away 9. We have to take a 10 from the hundreds place. That 1 becomes an 11. That 14 becomes a 13. You can't start with 1 and take away 4, so that 1's going to become an 11, and that 11 in the tens place is going to become a 10. All right, 11 minus 4 equals 7. 10 minus 9 equals 1. 13 minus 5 equals 8. 16 minus 8 equals 8. 8 minus 6 equals 2. And we have our final answer, 97,411 minus 68,594 equals 28,817. Shout out to everybody hitting the like button. I appreciate you. All right, moving on to example number 8. I'm sort of new to streaming. I'm not even sure how to put a moderator in the chat. All right, this is going to be my final problem of the video, I think. All right. So again, we're going to do all our regrouping before we do any subtraction. And looking at this problem, the only area that needs to be regrouped is the thousands place. So that 7 becomes a 17, and that 3 becomes a 2. And now we're ready to subtract. 4 minus 2 equals 2. 1 minus 1 equals 0. 9 minus 4 equals 5. 17 minus 8 equals 9. 2 minus 1 equals 1. And we have our final answer. 37,914 minus 18,412 equals 19,502. All right, that is my video for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought of the video. And if there is an area of math or reading that you're having difficulty with, put that in the comments and I will do a future video on that skill. Until next time, this is Mr. Camilleri signing off.